Hello everyone, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at how to do terrain shading in Mantra. Okay, so the big difference here is that instead of using like a ready-made displacement map where you take your height field and then you bake it out to a displacement map and use that, we're going to directly shade the height field itself. Okay, so we're going to take the height field, convert it to polygons, and then all the various fields that are there on the terrain, we're going to use those to generate masks at shader level and control our textures. Okay, so that's the entire process. So this is the final result that I have. It's not like particularly great looking, but it's just to show you, how to use the various masks to control textures. Okay, so to get started, this is the basic terrain that I have. I won't go into how I built the terrain. I'll make the file available, but I'll just show you how I built the masks. Okay, so I have three main masks on this, which I want. So one of them is this slump, okay, which is controlling the the amount of dirt that comes down from the hills. Okay, so you can define like a repose angle for it, which defines like how high or how low the dirt will be. And then I also have a copy layer node, which takes that slump information and then stores it to a custom field. So default is generated as a mask, and then you can store it to whatever you want. So when you press the I over here, you'll see that it's been added to this list over here. So this is slump. And then the same way I also have like a slope, so that has also been stored. And I also just stored the height data. Okay, so if I come in here, see, so this is the height, because there will be a height attribute anyways, but that is you'll have to take like a fit range and readjust that. So what I did was I just generated a mask based on height and then just stored it in a separate value called HT. So once you convert all of this to polygons, okay, it automatically takes all of those fields and converts them into float attributes. It also generates a UV for you, so you don't have to do UV mapping as well. And then lastly, I took an attribute delete and I got rid of the stuff I don't want. Okay, because the thing to remember is if your geometry has too many attributes, it's going to take up that much more RAM to render. So the stuff that you don't want, like that's not going to show up in your final render, or you don't need them for shader level control, you can just get rid of them. So this is the height field that I have. So to get started, what I have is I have a single environment light with an HDR, and I took a ROPNet and I added Mantra. Okay, like that's basically it. The only change I've made here is in the render tab. I have set the max processor count to 10 so that it's not using all the threads on my CPU. And I've kept the rendering engine to physically based. Like that's pretty much it. I haven't changed anything else. Okay, so to get started, make a material.net folder and I'll create a material builder. Now this is not a beginner level class, so I'm assuming like basics of Mantra. Okay, like this is, again, it's not overly complex, but it's not like an absolute ABCD kind of a class. Okay, so to get started, one of the things you need to do in here is, in order for displacement to work properly, you need to add something called displacement bounds, okay, which is similar to if you use Arnold. Like Arnold has a displacement bounds factor. So if you don't add it, when you try to do bump mapping or displacement, the geometry starts to tear apart. So the way you do that is you take a properties node and connect it to like the last input over here, and then click on the gear icon, come to edit parameter interface, come to render properties and type in displacement bound. Okay, and then you'll find in the shading tab, you'll find displacement bound. So just take it and drop it in there, and we'll keep a value of 1 for now. Okay, this should be equal to or more than the displacement amount that you have. So then that will control the way the polygons are built for displacement. Okay, I don't need these, so I'm going to get rid of that. So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to take a principal shader core, and since we're just working with physically based rendering, I'll just connect like the BSDF output to the BSDF input over here, and let's just assign this and let's hit a render. Yeah, so that's the basic scene that I have for now. Let me just take the environment light and let's modify this a little bit. Okay, I think this is fine. Okay, so the first absolute basic thing we'll do is we'll take a look at how to bring in any of the attributes that we have made into the shader to control it. So the simplest way is you can take a bind node. All of this works the exact same way you work in warps. Okay, so if you've ever done like an attribute warp in geometry level, you're doing the exact same thing. Okay, so we'll take the bind node and let's bring in the height. So let's say HD, and let's say I'll take a ramp parameter and we'll call it color, and I'll just connect in the input and we'll plug that over there. So the only issue you end up facing is because this is a parameter node, if you want to make any changes, you have to come up to the material net and then make the changes. Okay, so let's say if I just want to use this as a mask to create like, snow on top of my hills. So you have to do that here. Like you can't do it, inside at this level. But anyways, this is, your basic level control for, how to bring in an attribute and then adjust it. Okay, so now let's start working with textures. Okay, so the thing is, if you're going to work with texturing a terrain, what you want to do is you want to use like a triplanar map, because what that does is it ensures that you won't get any stretching on the slopes of the terrain. Okay, because normally your UV map is just a planar map, and then with a height field everything gets stretched. So you should always make sure that you use a triplanar map. So what we can do is just take a triplanar and you'll get something called UV triplanar project. And what I've done is there's a website called textures.com, and it's free for textures up to 1K resolution, which really isn't much, but you can register for free. And since this is just for like for testing purposes, I downloaded a couple of sort of sand and grass maps from this website. So I'll make those available, or you can download, or use whatever textures you have. So these are the textures that I'm using. Okay, primarily the ones I'll be using is this moss texture. Okay, and there's another one for soil. Okay, so these are the two that I primarily want to use. Okay, so what you can do is once you've taken the UV planar project and we can just connect it in, this is the basic result you'll get. Okay, so what it does is it generates like XYZ and gives it colors, and then you can also bring in textures in here. So what we'll do is we'll bring in some textures. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to just turn off tint with color so that it's not like using the color data. And then let's say for the y-axis I'm going to pick up the soil texture. So there you go. So you can start seeing the soil texture. So one of the nice things about the triplanar map is it's also very good for just, if you want to generate like a slope map, it's a very good way to do that. Okay, like just take something in the y-axis and keep X and Z to black and you'll get a very nice slope map. And we can just zoom in and we can see it. So if I just zoom in over here, we should be able to see our, the soil map that we have. Now the problem is that the tiling is too high, so we can't really see anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, for the sake of this particular lesson, I'm going to take the scale values over here and make them really low. Okay, so I'll make it like 0.1. So we'll be able to see the soil map that we have. Okay, or hold on a second, let me just change this. I'm going to try and take like a grass map just so we can see it. Let's try 0.01. Since we're dealing with the terrain, there you go. Now I can see it. Okay, now we have our, our grass map. Or at least it's like large enough that we can see it. Usually you don't want it this large, but for the sake of for this texturing class, so we can at least see it, I'm making it big enough. Okay, so now I can also take in I can take the soil texture again. Yeah, so what I can do is I can take a soil texture here and let me just do tint with color, and I'm just going to make it slightly darker. And also for now, I'm going to take the reflectivity and make it 0, which is like your specular, so that it's just flat. So I can just see, the texture that I'm generating. Okay, I think this is better. Yeah, so I have like a sand or a ground texture as well. So there you go. So this works a little bit better. Okay, and then let's say if in the x-axis I can pick up the moss texture that I have. So I'm going to take the moss texture, and again I'll just make it, how much was it? 0.01, right? Okay, so let's make it 0.01, and the same thing in the z-axis. So yeah, so if you just want to generate a texture based on slope, this is not a bad way to do it. Like now the problem with this particular surface is that it's too flat. So the slope values are too high. But yeah, you can use a triplanar map like this. Now what I want is, I don't want to do this. Okay, I want to have two triplanar textures, but mix them using the data or the attributes that we have, on the terrain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, or actually I'm going to take the moss and put it on, all of these. Okay, so the whole thing will be just the moss texture. And make sure you turn off tint with color for the, for the y-axis that we had turned on. Yeah, so there you go. So we have our basic moss texture. Okay, now what I can do is, in order to just control it a little bit more, I'm going to take a color correct. Okay, so we'll take a color correction and drop it in the middle. So I can just, like if you want to make it slightly brighter or a little more saturated, I can do that. So I can make it a little more saturated if I want. I'll increase the value to make it slightly brighter. Okay, I think this is good. Okay, so this is, let's just call this moss. And now what I want to do is, let's duplicate this. And in here, I'm going to take the soil texture that I have. So I'll take soil over here and just to Control C and put it in all of them. So Control V and Control V. And let's just check this. Okay, so what you want to do is, you want to take, primarily what I'm trying to recreate is the kind of surface you get in Iceland. So it's a lot of black soil and green slopes. So I'm going to lower the gamma and lower the value, so it's a lot more darker. Okay, I think this is good. Okay, we can lower the saturation. It doesn't need to be like, actually you can make it almost black and white. Okay, so we've done this. This is fine. Like this is what we need. Now what we can do is, we can also set up like a basic bump map if we want to. So what I can do is, let's just bring back the reflectivity because it will be easier to see the bump map. And what I can do is, let's take, this is the soil. So let's call it soil. Okay. And I can just do Control C, Control V. Let's minimize this as well. And you'll get something called as displace along normal. So just take displace along normal. You get a bunch of others also, but this is the simplest one. And we need a luminance node to convert this to black and white or convert this to a singular grayscale value. So just take a luminance. So it will take whatever is coming in and just convert it to a float value. And then plug that into amount. And what we'll do is, we'll turn on bump only. And then take the position and normal and connect it to the displacement position and normal. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and plug it in here and there. And this will kind of slow down now because it needs to create the displaced geometry. This is where it will slow down a fair bit. Okay, so let's just zoom in to a specific point and see if we're getting anything. Yeah, so there you go. So this is your basic, bump map. It's on a terrain, so it's all really, fine information. Like from a distance, you can't see anything. But yeah, there you go. There's your bump map. Actually, we also need to make a small change, which is, this is using the color map. We want to use in the height map that we have. So I'm going to come back to the UV planar project that we have and just replace you'll find like a soil height. Okay, hold on a second. Where's the soil height? Yeah, there's the soil height. So I'm just going to take that and do Control C, Control V, and Control V. Okay, and then we can do the same thing for the moss as well. So let's do a Control C, Control V for this. This is a huge node. Okay, and then here again, I'm going to replace the moss albedo with the moss height map. Okay, and then also put in a luminance for this. So this will set up our bump maps. Okay, so we have our bump and we have our color. Now, for now, I'm going to disconnect the displacement and let's set up our basic color. Okay, using one of the attributes that we have. Okay, so I'm just going to open this up for now and let's zoom out and let's hit render. Okay, so again, I'm just going to come down here and get rid of reflectivity altogether. So it's just a plain color. And what we can do is, I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need this ramp that we have. Okay, so I'm going to take the bind node here and let's pick up, so we have debris on this. So we can pick up debris. And if we connect this, we should see the debris field that we have in here. So what I want is I want to take the debris field and the slump information that I have. I want to add them together and use that for texturing. Okay, so I can take this, I'll do Control C, Control V, and this will be slump, and I can bring that out. Yeah, so that's the slump. I think just the slump should be good enough. Let's see. Okay, and now what you want to do is you want to take a mix, like you want to take a color mix node, and the slump goes into the bias. The black areas will be the soil and the white will be the moss. Okay, so I can take this and this will come into primary and this will go into secondary, and let's plug that in, and there you go. So we have our moss texture and we have the soil. Okay, now along with this, let's say if instead of this I want to take the debris, I'll just plug in the debris over here and you'll get this. Now what we can do is, let's say if we want a combination of both, I can add them together. Okay, but the problem with adding is, since this is like unclamped information, if you add 1 and 1 together, you get 2. Okay, so what you want to do is after that you want to clamp it down back to 1. Otherwise the shader might give you a bad result. So first take an add node and add these two together, and then just take a clamp and you clamp them from 0 to 1. And this comes into bias. So what you'll get is, you'll get a combination of these two things. And if you want, you can take a fit range in the middle over here and make adjustments. So if I want, I can, adjust this a little bit more if I want. See. Okay, now along with this, let's say I want the moss to be slightly shiny, so I can do that as well. So what I can do is, I can just take, let me just adjust this. I want to control the reflectivity, so I can take another mix node, and let's say the rock area will be 0 and the moss area will be, let's say, 0.5, and then I can just take the same mask over here, put it into bias, and I can plug this into the reflect. See, there you go. So the moss is shiny and then the rocks remain dark. Now along with this, let's say if I also want to control the roughness, I can do the same thing. I can just do Control C, Control V, and yeah, let's make the rocks completely rough, and then we'll just lower the roughness on the grass, and that goes into the roughness. So yeah, there you go. So that looks a lot better now. If you want, there is a reflection tint option as well. So I can probably take a color mix and let's see if we can control that. If you want to change the node type, press Shift S, like the connections. So Shift S gives you, different options. Let's see how this works. I've never really tried this, but let's plug that into reflection tint. Actually, no, it just requires a grayscale value. Okay, forget it. It's not important. Or hold on, let's just plug this in, and let's make this white. Let's make this black. Yeah, there you go. So what happens is it picks up the color from the albedo. So your moss is now, back to the green that it was. So yeah, so it's not very complicated. Okay, now let's say just for fun, if you want to take like, have a third layer on top of this, then what we can do is we can take another mix node. Okay, so what I can do is, let's say if I want, there's a water attribute as well. So I can take, let me just duplicate the bind node. And let's say just for fun, I want to have like water on top of this. So I can take another color mix, and this comes into primary. The secondary will be like a blue color, and this will be water. So it's like basic layering, right? So you can just take this, and then if I plug this into base color, we will get that. There you go. So you have like water on top of it. Okay, that's a really terrible color for water, but hold on. Let me make it dark. Yeah, okay, like that's fine. Now on top of this, instead of using just the standard, like the attributes that you have, you can also bring in like noise based masks, so that will give you a little more detail, because this is based directly on geometry. That's why you're seeing like, like these artifacts over here, because you don't have enough geometry. So if you have like, you want to mix the debris map with like a turbulent noise or something like that, you can do those things as well. Okay, like, or if you have like other textures you want to mix it with, you can also do those things. But I'll leave that to you. Like, it's not complicated. Like over here, or let's say if we do a small example of it. Okay, like let's just for fun, what I'm going to do is, let me just bring these out. Let me take a turbulent noise, and I'll need the global. Yeah, I'll need the global variables. I need the position. So let's just say single output, and you also need like a rest. Otherwise the map will start to swim. So connect this. This comes into position, and let's just see what this looks like. So I'm just going to plug this into base color. We need to make this small. So let's make the frequency 0.01. Okay, this is good. And what I can do is, let's just change this to Perlin, or let's do sparse convolutions. Okay, increase the roughness a lot, like really a lot. Let's make it 0.05. Okay, and what we can try is, let's bring this back here, okay, and I'll right click here and I'll take a multiply, and let's plug this in over there just to see what we're getting. Also, let's just right click here and take a fit range so we can adjust it. Okay, so let's bring the color back in so we'll see what we're getting. So what this should do is, you should get, like, it'll eat up the grass completely, because now the noise is sort of mixing with the debris and the slump. So we can come back here to the fit range and make some adjustments. Okay, so I can take this, make it -1 to +1, that will increase the noise field. Yeah, there you go, see. So the advantage of this now is, because you have like a noise map mixed into it, it looks a little bit better. So let's make it 0.5 to 0.5. Yeah, so what happens is, now because there's a noise map mixed into it, your grass isn't like just based on the data that you're getting from the attributes. You also have like additional texture on top of it. Let me just get rid of the water altogether. It's not like, it was just for fun. I'll just bring back the basic thing. Yeah, there you go, see, so that looks a lot better. Okay, rather than having it just based on the attributes, you mix it with like, with like noise maps and stuff, it will look a lot better. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So now, as a final thing, what I can do is, I can just take these two maps that we have, for the bump, and I can take another mix and just mix these together. Okay, so all of it just comes in from the same point. So I can take a mix over here, and the moss goes in second, the soil comes in first, and this comes into the bias. Okay, and then this goes into the amount. And let me just stop this and plug it into the displacement. And I'll just make it slightly bigger. So let's do like 960, 540, and I'll hit render. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So this is the final result. It's not the greatest of results, but the idea was to just show you how you can use the attributes that are available on your terrain and how you can use that to mix textures together to get, you know, like a final result on your terrain. Okay. But as I said, like what you want to do is you don't want to be just dependent on the attributes that are coming in, or even like the splat maps that you might have baked or anything like that. Always mix them with existing procedural textures, or, you know, if you have like other black and white noise maps or whatever, you know, always mix them with that, because that gives you more randomization and it looks a lot better. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'll make the file available so you can look at the height field and see how I've built that. It's not complicated, but it should give you some amount of information. I'll also make the textures available with the files, so it'll be easier for you to work. As usual, if you have any questions regarding this, you can, you know, write me an email, or you can ask me in the comment section. If you want a more detailed version of this, I could probably do something for it on Patreon. I mean, if that is something that is of interest to anyone. But yeah, that's pretty much it.